Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rock and Alt Read-Through, starting yours truly, Roadrunner, and my girl here, Night Browser, um, exploring the week-to-week changes and analysis of the rock and alternative charts. And this week consists of a pleasantly surprising Hozier comeback and a bit of Gecs. So I can start us off with our top 10 for this week. And at the top, we have like four huge dinosaurs taking up the top of the rock and all charts. Um, okay, so one, we have Until I Found You by Steven Sanchez. On its 53rd week, actually, yeah. It has a lot of airplane streaming, but interestingly, most of its streaming at this point is coming from the M. Bayhold remix of the song. But Billboard has yet to change the crediting after all these months, probably due to the radio version still being the solo version, and that taking up most of the points, probably. That would be my guess. At number two, we have Something in the Orange by Zach Bryan on its 48th week. Very stable and big streaming numbers, much more than Until I Found You. Actually, despite slow radio and lack of radio, wouldn't be surprised if it went back up to number one soon. At number three, we have Bad Habit by Steve Lacy on its 38th week. All of its components, streaming sales, and radio are all slowly falling as its run is naturally coming to an end. And four, somehow, Sunroof by Nicky Yor and Daisy on its 59th week. Jesus Christ.
They can then at least radio can at least abandon it during the winter.
Exactly. It's already recurrent on Pop Airplay. It's recurrent on the Hot 100. Like, let this go. It still has some really strong and stable radio, as it's lacking in any real streaming whatsoever. But so this could be gone any week now, regarding Billboard's recurrent rules.
Please hurry up.
Yes. Now we can finally get to our newer songs in the rest of our top 10.
Yeah.
At 5, we have Ceilings by Lizzie McAlpine. Streaming is stable, even if the rise is slowing down a bit on streaming, but its radio just started, so it's primed to continue to rise the charts. At 6, we have a new debut, Eat Your Young by Hozier, which has some really strong streaming, especially for Hozier, who hasn't charted anything at least on the Hot 100 since 2012, I think.
Yeah.
So for now, it has no real radio or sales, so I don't see this sticking around this high for now, but it has a lot of room to make a real run in the future.
I would have expected at least have some amount of sales. Hozier still has like a solid fan base even after his one hit.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true. That's the whole reason why it's so high up this week. But yeah, I checked and it has like decent, but not enough to like sustain it for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So number 7 is Dawns by Zach Bryan featuring Maggie Rogers. Seems like its streaming has sadly peaked and it's slowly dwindling as radio seems to be allergic to Zach for whatever reason. Should stay in the top 10 for the next couple of weeks though.
It doesn't look like it'll make it the Hot 100 year end, unfortunately. But there's always the Rock and Alt year end.
Yep. So let's just hope it stays around long enough for that.
Yeah. I think it's already locked.
Oh, that's amazing then. 8 is Romantic Homicide by David, which streaming is stable as hell, but it's on the decline though as its run is naturally ending. And number 9, we have another new debut, Death by Melanie Martinez. Um, some really strong streaming, mostly from Melanie's cult fan base. Will definitely not be lasting long in the top 10 as its streaming is already running out. I have no clue how the song is going to perform on radio or sell since this is her first song, like in a very long time. So I don't know how this is going to end up holding up.
Well, I'm hoping it drops out sooner or later, but we'll get
Yes,
to that.
yeah, we'll definitely. And 10, we finally have "Here with Me" by David. It's the second David song here, another case where streaming is stable, but a bit more shaky than Romantic Homicide. But it's newer, so you never know if David's team will actually want to promote it to radio at some point,
I
which they haven't yet.
I hope that they do. I actually like this a lot more than Romantic Homicide.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he at least has some real X because in terms of like the radio, his team has done almost nothing to help the
Yeah.
songs. Night Browser, why don't you start us off with our losers and dropouts?
Alright, sounds good. For our dropouts, all three Leonard Skinner songs, Sweet Home Alabama, Simple Man, and Freebird, all dropped out as their sale unended. Wasted by Diplo Co-Wetzel Kodak Black drops out after a small one. On the one hand, the
Thank
song
God.
is good. On the other hand, it's Kodak Black, so.
On the rock and all charts too. But yeah,
Yeah. Gilded Lily by Colts goes recurring after a 21-week run. It'll probably make the year end. Luke's at Ateria by Metallica goes recurring after a small run. It might make the year end. We'll
yeah,
see.
yeah.
I'll About You and I'm in Love with You by the 1975 and Motorcycle Drive By. I also out after re-entering last week. The 1975 songs have a small chance of making the year end from what it looks like, but Motorcycle Drive By,
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
yeah,
Worthless by David drops big from the debut down from 28 to 44, unfortunately. Hoping this continues to get traction. And finally, Blue Hair Girl by TV Girl drops a bit it from its debut, but remains fairly stable from 21 to 24. And now
yeah.
for our gainers and reentries. Only one reentry this week is Those Eyes by New West at 28, which has started its radio run on alt, which has taken it out of recurrency. Nobody by Avenged Sevenfold has a big gain off the debut up to 33, as it has massive radio gains and sales are stable. I don't expect it to last because as the song isn't very good.
Yeah, I heard and I was like, yeah, let's just hope it doesn't
Yeah.
remain here.
Look at us now by Look at us now, Honeycomb by Daisy Jones, and the 6 to 30 has huge gains off the debut as sale gains continue. Nice to see. I really like this one. Helen Back by
Mm-hmm.
Mark Carr gains off the reentry to 17 as streaming continues gaining on its second one. I'm assuming this is due to TikTok.
Yes,
Oh
unfortunately.
yeah. And finally, Just Pretend by Bad Omens dodges recurrency as its all airplay continues rising. Relative streaming stays stable to a new peak at 21. I am
Yes.
very happy to see this.
Yeah, I was surprised that they could make actually a break for the top 20 next week. Um,
Mm. Oh.
yeah, let's just hope that Hell and Back song does not last longer than it should.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can finally get into our debuts. Um, so let's just start off with our number 47, which is Hollywood Baby by 100 Gecs. If you want to start us off with it, Night Browser, on your thoughts on it.
Um, you. I'm kind of new to this. Why don't you go first?
Okay, sure. Um, God, I just love how this blown out new metal sound that 100 Gecs have been doing on their on for this album cycle. It, it's just song you can absolutely rock out to. From what I'm picking up, the lyrics are about like the pressures of increased popularity, which I can definitely feel for them. That's probably why the record was later than anticipated, but this is still very much a banger. Very happy to see it debut this week.
Oh yeah, this is one of two songs from a 1000 Gecs to debut. We'll get to the other
Mm-hmm.
one soon. Reminds me of a geckified version of pop punk with the snotty vocal delivery and the chorus that sounds like in all the small things interpolation, though it doesn't seem to be given the lack of any Blink 182 members in the writing in credit. It,
Mm-hmm.
it's the
Yeah.
hooks are constant for out, and even though it's one of their most accessible songs, their sonical insanity is still here with the joyfully distorted production. It's one of my favorite tracks on here. I hope it continues to gain traction as it looks like it's being pushed as the big single from the uh, album. Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic song.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Our next song at number 45, we have "The Grant" by Lana Del Rey. Um, so for my thoughts on it, I just think it's a very beautiful piano ballad that opens up the album. That Lana just released this week. Lana always has this like emotional potency that comes out especially on this new album cycle and all the songs on it. Um, One of the only songs not to feature Jack Antonoff on the production, which really surprised me given how clean everything sounds here. Another song where I just have very minimal complaints, other than it works better as an actual opener to the album than listening to it by itself.
Yeah, yeah. I've yet to listen to the new Lana Del Rey album, mostly due to my general unfamiliarity with her work and what little I have heard from her rarely clicking with me. With all that said, Ed, this was pretty good. The instrumentation is simple but
Hmm.
effective. It really carries Lana's emotional appeal. But yeah, the instrumentation is simple but effective, carrying Lana's emotional appeal to carry the memories of her close ones, no matter what, which was apparently inspired by the passing of her uncle back in 2016.
Oh, wow.
It's it's I'll admit it's a song I respect more than I love, but considering my general struggles to get into music, I like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, okay, now for number 37, we have "Dumbest Girl Alive" by, again, 100 Gex. Um, this is such a rager of an opening for the album. Love how it starts with that fake out movie production thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, with the
Yeah.
THX sample.
With the what?
THX, the one that goes.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I was trying to think of it, but and they just rip it all in exchange for what 100 Gex actually stands for: blown out rock and hyperpop with catchy ass melodies and nonsensical lyrics. This one here is also a really good one. Wish more of their stuff ended up debuting on the chart.
Yeah, yeah, agree. Still though, I'm very happy to see them get not just one but two tracks today. It get in with. It's a great opening track. Immediately catches your attention with the THX sample, like it says before it slams you to that signature 100 get X sound, albeit with more of a rock sheen this and Laura's stark yet playful presence. It's not my favorite off the album, but it's still great.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. At number 22, we have "Through Me" (parentheses The Flood) by Hozier. Um, and my thoughts is, yes, Hozier is back, and honestly, better than ever. Was not a fan of his big breakout, um, "Take Me to Church," back in 2012, but all these songs on these EP prove me otherwise, as they are all impeccably written and produced. But for now, I'm talking about this track, um, Through Me, parentheses, The Flood, a track that seems to be what I'm picking up. It's like about environmental changes in the world with like a hint of the message of like taking what comes your way, but also there's like an interesting juxtaposition between those two things. Um,
Oh yeah.
at the end, yeah, there's some amazing harmonies and performance, extremely groovy and powerful instrumental as well.
Oh yeah. This is one of three debuts for the Hozier EP this week. I was in terms of Hozier, the only song I was previously familiar with was "Take Me to Urge," actually really like. The I've been meaning to check out his other stuff for a while. Uh, yeah, this is really good. It's the most bombastic sounding song in this EP with the prominent strings and ripping bass line, all of them tied together with his own chorus. Yes, I wish the
Mm-hmm.
guitars were mixed a bit louder to give it even more firepower, but this is still really good.
Mm-hmm. Now we are on to our second Hozier track, All Things End by Hozier. So this second track seems to be about Hozier coming to terms with a breakup. As and as I can and as I said, he continues his hot streak with some amazing organic instrumentation and performance, and that gospel choir at the end gave me so much chills and was able to amp the amazing melodrama and give it a great climax at the end. This would be a definite recommend from these list of songs.
Oh yeah, Uh, this, to be honest, this is probably my least favorite of the EP. It mainly comes to productions here sounding a little more artificial than I'd like, and I don't really connect to the lyrical content as much, though it's still pretty well written. But yeah, this is still a pretty good. I will say the ending with at the gospel choir is really stood out to me. It's delightful and it elevated it to something I would recommend.
Yeah, definitely agree. Now on to number 12, Christmas Kids by Roar. It seems we got Christmas really early
Yeah.
these days. Anyway, it seems it's a very TikTok core song, and it's all right. Definitely not bad. Apparently, this is about the abusive relationship between Ronnie Spector of the Ronettes and Phil Spector, which I doubt all the TikTok kids are using it knew about. They probably had no idea. But it's a
Yeah.
very dark song to go viral. Um, and yeah, I mean, I would call this decent. I love how it kind of plays into that 60s sound of the time period of the relationship they're trying to portray. And yeah, it's cool in that way.
Yeah. As you said, yeah. They're throwbacks to like 60s pop. They do a pretty solid job at recreating the era. Plus, it juxtaposed with the dark, well, as you said, the darker lyrical context exploring their abusive relationship. I will say what keeps the song from really connecting to me is the runtime. I feel like its emotional impact is restricted by that. It
Oh
makes
yeah,
it feel more like an interlude rather than a full fledged character piece, but it's alright.
yeah, yeah. That's actually true. um, it definitely had to be longer. At number 9, we have "Death" by Melanie Martinez. Um, No, just no.
Yeah.
Big exclamation. I am not familiar with Melanie's back catalog at all, but these faux edgy lyrics and thin production on top of very mediocre vocal performance is not a good combo whatsoever. In terms of lyrics, I kind of gather that this is her saying that she's back from her hiatus in a very edgy way. In which case, why? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm similar with you in that I'm not very familiar with Melanie Martinez's back catalog before listening to this, but this was not a good first impression. It's trying to go for this grandiose yet cutting and cathartic mood, but the production here is too underweight to sell either, and her vocals here are distractingly overprocessed, not helped by her lack of personality. At least for this song, it sounds like a Kids Bop version of "Look What You Made Me Do."
Gee, that's so true. That's so true. Oh, um, but yeah, now we can finally get to number 6. Eat Your Young. Last song here by Hozier. Um, the Hotshot debut for the week, and for good reason, as it's an extremely replayable and amazingly produced song about comparing capitalism to an extravagant feast. And even though the song is definite critic bait, it's just so undeniable. So much detail in the lyrics about this quote unquote feast and its preparation and all his metaphors and everything. It's just all so good. Cannot recommend this track enough.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite song off of that EP. I love the soulful instrumentation, and Hozier is a captivating, of a performer as ever. Ever, not to mention, as you mentioned, the themes about capitalism and comparing it to gluttony is executed very well. Great song.
Mm-hmm. So, give us your picks for the week for best of the week, honorable mention, dishonorable mention, and worst of the week.
Uh, be- Best of the week for me would be Hollywood Baby for being such a bit anger, but a honorable mention
Mm-hmm.
is Eat Your Young for it shows me that maybe I should check out more of Hosier's disc. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have this honorable mention, but the worst of the week is easily a it's just so clumsily executed and executed. Maybe Melanie Martinez has better songs, but oof.
Yeah. Okay. So for my awards, best of the week for me goes to You're Young by Hozier. For my honorable mention,
Nice.
um, I have a tie. One is All Things End by Hozier. But for my second honorable mention, I have Hollywood Baby by 100 Gecs.
Ooh,
Um,
nice.
so we kind of had a little flip there.
Yeah.
Uh, for my dishonorable mention, I had Christmas Kids by Roar. Like I said, I thought it was decent, but like nothing too much to write home about. And had the same worst of the week as you, Death by Melanie Martinez. Um, yeah, and I think that's it for the week. I'd have to say pretty great week all around.
Yeah,
Um,
this is a really fun week to start art on.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I'd like to thank everyone for watching the first episode
Yeah.
um, of Rock and Alt Read Through. If you have any complaints or criticisms, feel free to leave them in the comments below as we continue to try to improve this format. Subscribe if you like what we're doing here on this channel, and we very much appreciate everyone who takes their time to watch this. Um, Next week we should be getting mostly some Fall Out Boy and Lana Del Rey, so very exciting.
Oh yeah.
Um, I wonder how much Fall Out Boy will be able to get. I know Lana Del Rey should be able to. You know, I think she's gonna end up having more entries than them. But yeah, it should definitely be interesting to see how
Oh
everything falls.
oh for sure.
And yeah, this is Roadrunner and Night
Night
Browser.
browser.
Yes. And we will see you next week.
See y'all.